Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're digging into a question that I think every Spring developer asks at some point. Should you really just jam everything into one big configuration file, or is there a better way? Let's find out.
All right, so let's just jump right in with the big question. Can you even use more than one configuration file for a Spring project? It seems like such a simple question, but trust me, the answer unlocks some of the most powerful ways to build really solid professional applications.
So, the short answer? Yes, absolutely. And honestly, you probably should. But look, just saying yes isn't the interesting part. The real magic is in understanding why this is not just a can you do it thing, but a you really should do it best practice. Okay, so let's start with the why. Why bother with multiple files? It all comes down to one core idea: managing different environments. Just think about it for a second. A real-world app is never just one thing. The way it runs on your laptop while you're coding is totally different from how it needs to behave in a formal testing environment, right? And that's a world away from how it has to run in production, serving thousands of real users. Every single one of those environments has its own unique set of rules and needs. Right, so for example, when you're developing, you probably want a super fast in-memory database that you can wipe clean whenever you want, and you want tons of logging, right? You want to see every little detail. But in production, no way. You need a super robust, permanent database, and you want to log as little as possible to keep things fast. Trying to juggle all that in one file? Oh man, that's just asking for trouble. And this is where Spring comes in with a really, really elegant solution to this whole mess. It's a feature called profiles, and it was literally designed to solve this exact problem of managing different environments. So the magic here is this little annotation at profile. The best way to think about it is like a light switch. You can label your different components, like a database connection or a specific logging setup, and you're basically telling Spring, hey, only turn this component on when this specific profile is active. It's that simple. And this really gets to the heart of it. This is how you create that conditional, environment-specific behavior without cluttering your code. Instead of writing a bunch of messy, if dev, then do this, else if prod, then do that logic, you just let the framework handle it. You tell it the context, and it wires up the right pieces for you. It's so clean. And getting started with profiles is actually a super simple 3-step process. First, you just create your different beans. So you'll have one for your local dev database, another for the production one. Step 2, you just slap that app profile annotation on each one. So app profile dev on one, app profile prod on the other. And finally, step 3, you just tell Spring which profile to use when you launch the app. It's usually just a simple little argument when you run it. That's it. Okay, so profiles are already pretty awesome in classic Spring, right? But then along came Spring Boot. And Spring Boot looked at this whole concept and said, we can make this even easier. And they did, a lot easier. This quote really nails the whole philosophy behind Spring Boot auto configuration. Spring Boot is what we call opinionated. That just means it makes a lot of smart, sensible decisions for you. The goal is to get you out of the business of writing tons of boilerplate configuration code so you can focus on, your actual application logic. So what is this auto configuration magic anyway? Honestly, it's like having an expert developer sitting next to you. Spring Boot scans your project's dependencies, and if it sees, for example, the H2 database library, it just assumes, hey, this person probably wants a quick in-memory database for development, and poof, it sets one up for you. It sees a web library, bam, it configures a web server. It just connects the dots for you automatically. And you can really see the massive leap forward on this slide. In the old days of classic Spring, you spend a lot of time wrestling with XML files or writing these really verbose Java configuration classes. You had to manage all your dependencies by hand and deploy your app to some external server. Spring Boot just gets rid of all that pain. You get simple property files, these awesome starter dependencies that bundle everything you need, and a server that's built right into your application. It's just a huge, huge boost in productivity. Now, what's really important to get is that Spring Boot doesn't replace profiles, it makes them even better. Instead of needing separate Java config classes for every environment, you can now just use simple profile-specific property files. You just create a file called application-dev.properties for your dev settings, and another one called application-prod.properties for production. That's it. Spring Boot is smart enough to just pick the right one based on the active profile. It is so clean, so simple, and just the standard way to do things now. So let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway here? We started with a pretty simple question, right?
one file or many. And we've kind of gone on a journey that's ended up with this really powerful, super flexible strategy for building modern applications. So let's just lock in the 3 big ideas you should walk away with. First, yes, absolutely use multiple configuration files. It's the way to go. Second, use Spring Profiles as your main tool for organizing those files by environment. Dev, test, prod, you name it. And finally, whenever you can, just let Spring Boot do the heavy lifting. Its auto-configuration and its conventions around property files will save you so much time and effort.
Look, this isn't just some academic exercise. Getting this right, mastering this approach, is what lets you build applications that are way more robust, way easier to test, and just so much more adaptable to change. You've basically just unlocked a configuration superpower. So the only real question left is, now that you know how, what are you going to build?